Shalom. Before I start, I want to give all honors and glories and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Yahweh Chodesh, Yahweh, which is the one true name of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shai, who the world ugly calls Jesus Christ, but his one true name is Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, because those are the men who I've learned this truth from through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Peace, blessings, salutations to the whole for the elect. And shalom to you, sincere brother scattered abroad, pushing forth this word in truth and sincerity. I am the brother Mashiach Razakah from the servants of Yahweh Yahweh Shai Camp, Las Vegas, Nevada branch. And pretty much in this lesson is going to be taught as be not carnal in the ministry. All right, be not carnal in the ministry. All right, so, we got to be spiritual in this truth. We got to be spiritually minded in this truth. And Lord willing, this lesson is edifying. Get some scriptures out. And the first, the first precept I'm going to get out is Romans chapter 8, and we start at verse 5. This is Romans 8 and 5. It says, "For they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh." And you got Israelites out here, Israelite groups out here that are carnal. All right, they're in a ministry and they're carnal. They got guns on them while they at camp. They got bulletproof vests on them. They got ARs, AR guns, AR-47 guns. They got all these type of guns and shit on them while they at camp. You got some groups that got machetes. They have weapons on them at camp. You got Israelite groups going to shooting ranges. That's not being a man of the Lord. All right, that's not being a man of the Lord. That's being carnal. Verse 5, it says, "For they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh, but they that are after the spirit, the things of the spirit." And who are they that are after the spirit? The men of the Lord, the true men of the Lord, who are the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, on down to the sincere brothers like myself. All right, we're spiritual minded in this thing. We're not carnal. We don't need no blickies and guns and have do-rags on while teaching, hats, baseball caps on, having extended clips and Glocks on our shoulders. We don't need all that. We just go out there to teach, and that's how you should be in the truth. You don't need to be carnal. You don't need to be spitting on no heathen. You don't need to be going back and forth with the police. The police tell you to move off the corner and go somewhere else and teach. Don't go back and forth with them. Don't get carnal with them. Don't do all that, because it's going to put you in a bad situation. Verse 6, it says, "For to be carnally minded is death." To be carnally minded is death. So if you being carnal in the truth, the Lord can put you to death. He can put you to death. He can send a death angel after you. So if you being carnal, it leads to death. It says, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. And how are we getting life and peace? In these scriptures. These scriptures, man. All right, that's how we be spiritually minded. That's how we get life and peace. These holy scriptures. Because you, as an apprentice, when you're in the ministry and you're reading these scriptures, you should be applying them to your spiritual walk to strengthen you, so you can learn the principles of not being emotional, not being into your feelings. And it's challenging. It's easier said than done. But this is how we are to be in the ministry. We got to be spiritual. We can't be carnal. People going to say stuff about you. When you out there at camp, people going to say things about you. People going to try to get you angry or upset. But you can't get emotional, man. You can't get into your feelings. All right, you can't be carnal. You got to be spiritual. Verse 7. This is Romans 8 and 7. It says, "Because the carnal mind is enmity against the Most High." Right, the carnal mind is enmity against the Most High, the Lord. That word enmity means hatred. All right. So if you carnal, you're against Yahweh Shemashai. It says, "For it is not subjected to the law of the Most High, neither indeed can be." Verse 8. "So then they that are in the flesh cannot please the Lord." Right. So if you're carnal in this thing, you're carnal in the ministry, it's going to be hard for you to please the Lord, because you can't be carnal. You got to be spiritual. All right. You can't be carnal. You can't please the Lord if you're carnal. Verse 9, it says, "But ye are not in the flesh, but in the spirit." See? So you got to be spiritual. It says, it says, "If so be that the spirit of Yahweh Shemashai dwell in you. Now, if any man have not the spirit of Yahweh Shai, he is none of his." See? So the Lord ain't dealing with those that are carnal. All right. The Lord is dealing with those that are spiritual. We're spiritual in this thing. We're not carnal. We're not spitting on nobody. We're not up here setting up boxing matches. We're not putting our boots on nobody. We're not having nobody come down and kiss our boots. We're not doing any of that. We're just going out there teaching, and Lord willing, coming back home if the Lord allows that. So, we know not to be carnal out here, and you shouldn't be carnal. You should be spiritual in this thing, not being carnal. And the precept I want to get out is I think it's yeah, it's Galatians 5:16. Galatians 5:16. It says, "This I say then, walk in the spirit." See, so we got to be spiritual while we're out there. While we're out there teaching, how we behave on camera. We got to be spiritual. The elders and brothers tell us all the time, be spiritual. Don't be carnal, man. Walk in the spirit. You got to be spiritual. It says, "And ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh." Verse 17, "For the lust of the flesh," it says, "For the lust against the flesh, for the lust against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh," it says, "and these are contrary the one to the other." Now, word contrary means opposite. So the opposite of spiritual is carnal, right? And people that don't know what carnal is, spitting on people, that's what we talk about by carnal. You get that Jace fighting at camp, spitting on people, doing all that carnal stuff, having them kiss their boots, coming out there with guns, blickies, all that on them. That's carnal. But being spiritual, what you're gonna hold yourself in a right manner, right? You're gonna read scriptures. You're gonna teach the word. You're not gonna go to camp with no guns. You're not gonna set a bad example. You're gonna stay in the spirit. No matter how mad somebody make you, you gotta still be in the spirit. It says, "So what ye cannot do," it says, "so that ye cannot do the things that ye would." So the what's opposite, what's contrary to the spirit is the flesh. The flesh and the spirit are contrary. This is why again we say this is a spiritual warfare. Yes, there's a physical warfare, but there's a spiritual one with yourself, because your flesh and your spirit are contrary to the other. So you have your flesh having you go off, and then in the spirit, because the scriptures even say the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. So this is a spiritual battle between yourself and the ministry. This is a spiritual battle, but it's mostly between yourself mainly. This is Galatians 5:18. "But if ye be led of the spirit," you see, "ye are not under the law." Verse 19. "Now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these." So these are the things of the flesh. Being carnal. Committing adultery, having guns on you, things like that in that nature, right? Being carnal. It says, "which are these? Adultery, fornication, uncleanness, unctuousness." Verse 20, "idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, emulations, wrath, strife, sedition, heresies." Heresies meaning lies. Verse 21, "envying, murderers, drunkenness, revelings, and such like, of the which I tell you before, as I have also told you in time past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of Yahweh Shemashai." So if you're doing these things up here, there's Jakes that's doing this. All of us sin, but we're repenting. All right, we're not doing the things that's on here, like idolatry, witchcraft. We're staying away from those things. But you got Jakes that don't know that they Israelites, and they don't know about the truth. They're doing these things. And you got some of the, mostly, you got Jakes being the heresies, man, teaching lies, false doctrines. You got that going on too. And this is why, again, you got to exhort yourself, and you got to ask the Lord to keep you on the right path, man, and continually sustaining in the ministry, teaching this word in truth and sincerity. Galatians 5:22, "But the fruit of the Spirit," see, this is the fruit of the Spirit. "The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, and faith." And that's what we have on a daily basis. That's what we pray for on a daily basis. This is what we ask the Lord to keep us in, these things. Because we got to go through long-suffering. That's not going to end. We're always going to have long-suffering. So, through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Shemashai, man, we just pray that the Lord keep us enduring, and making it to the finish line, Lord willing. Galatians 5:25, "If we live in the Spirit, let us also walk in the Spirit," right? So if we live in the Spirit, let us also walk in the Spirit. So we got to live in the Spirit and walk in the Spirit. We got to be spiritual minded in this thing, not carnal. So, hey, man, I just want to do a quick hit on that. Lord willing, that's edifying. So, yeah, you got to be spiritually minded in the truth. You can't be carnal, all right? So you got to be spiritual. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. Till next time I say, Shalom.